marriage, a contract according to the form prescribed by law, by which a man and a woman capable of entering into such a contract mutually engage with each other to live their whole lives together in the state of union which ought to exist between a husband and wife. Now, let us imagine an entirely hypothetical case in which I make a proposal of marriage to Miss Lehman. I have given Miss Lehman a handsome diamond ring as a testimony to my commitment to our relationship. However, just days before the marriage, I am introduced to a flamenco dancer with whom I fall madly in love. The next day, I come to Miss Lehman and announce to her that the marriage is off. I ask Miss Lehman to return the diamond ring, and she refuses. On what grounds, Miss Lehman?
As consideration for the promise of marriage, in compensation for all the heartache you've put me through.
Miss Norman, would you care to enlighten us?
I disagree with Miss Lehman, although I certainly sympathize with her plight. I think she should return the diamond ring and be glad to be rid of you.
Your response totally fails to make any legal point, Miss Norman. Would you please be more specific?
In the classic case of Kimberly versus Holland, Miss Holland was left at the church altar. Now, by the standards of the times, this case took place in 1856. Her humiliation was public and grievous. But how does one put a price on emotional suffering? During the trial, it was pointed out that in purchasing the ring, the couple themselves had given an indication of what the contract was worth. In essence, the only concrete mark of injury was the ring.
Quite right, Miss Norman. Please continue.
Where it is impossible for the court, or indeed any party, to accurately measure the damages, we ought to look for an indication from the parties themselves as to how they viewed the event. And to avoid assessment of the damages, to let the wrongdoer go free, is to shy away from responsibility.
Yes, Miss Norman, that is quite correct. I see that time has not diminished your clear perception of the law. Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I remind you that a major examination day is imminent, and that your success or failure in this class will be determined in large part by how well you perform in this test. I therefore suggest that you begin preparing yourselves now. Class dismissed.
I hope you didn't think I was trying to enlighten you.
Not at all. It's a pleasure to see somebody give Kingsfield a run for his money.
No, he was just playing with me. He could chew me up and spit me out anytime he wants to. That's his prerogative with scholarship students. So, are you getting a little concerned about the upcoming exam, Miss Lehman?
Connie, terrified, Miss Norman.
Kathy. Got anybody to study with?
No, not at the moment.
I'm pretty shaky on the restatement.
I am catatonic on that Sampson case.
Misery just loves company. You want to take a walk?
Yeah.
Come on.
How about I take up to chapter 16?
Okay, I'll take from 16 to the Burgundy decision.
And the rest is for whoever gets there first.
When do you think we ought to start?
Suggest we begin at once, Miss Norman. What does Kingsfield mean about time diminishing your perception of the law?
I've been through this before.
You've taken Kingsfield's class before?
Mm-hmm. Part of it. I think I got just about this far 5 years ago.
What happened?
I dropped out. I really thought I wanted to be a lawyer until a better job came along. It had much better pay, less pressure, very good fringe benefits, and an excellent retirement plan. So I took it.
Sounds like a great job. What was it?
Wife.
Wife?
Sure. It's what every woman wants, isn't it? You get someone to take care of you for the rest of your life.
It's not what I want.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said, too. Until one day, Prince Charming came riding in, and I thought I'd spend the rest of my life in happily ever after land, wherever that is. You don't happen to know where happily ever after land is, do you?
I think it's a suburb of Utopia.
Mm-hmm, you got it.
So where's your husband?
By now, he's probably somewhere in the south of Nepal. I haven't seen him in 3 years.
What took you so long to get back to school?
Well, there were some other complications.
Mommy!
Hi! Hi, sweetie pie. How's my girl?
Charlie Stern says I look like a frog. Do you think I look like a frog?
I don't think you look anything like a frog. You look just like my daughter. Stephanie, I want you to meet somebody. This is Connie. She goes to the same school I do.
Is she smarter than you?
Absolutely.
No way. Your mother is a very smart lady.
I am very, very, very smart.
Oh, I bet you are.
Hi, Judy. How are you? How's it going?
Oh, not good. Some people from the state health department came by bugging us about permits.
Oh, why don't these people just mind their own business?
Well, I told them it was a nonprofit center run by the parents.
Well, don't worry. There's always some bureaucrat who has to hassle you just when you think you're doing something good in the world. Well, they better not mess with me. I'm a law student, right?
You want to come see the picture of the sun I drew?
Okay. How would you like to come and see a picture of the sun drawn by a very talented artist?
Terrific.
Great. Then you can help me play grandmother to this pack of wild animals.
Each of you have been assigned an actual client. This is not a moot court. These are real people with real problems, and you will be responsible for their case. You will argue that case before whatever authority is presiding. And in every way that it really counts, you will be functioning as lawyer for the client. The only difference is that the client cannot afford to pay for a lawyer. And besides, we all know you'll work much harder for them than any lawyer they could possibly come up with.
In other words, they get what they pay for.
Ford, you've been assigned the matter of Wexler versus the Sundial Realty Company. It concerns a rental raise in a building.
And which side will I be representing?
Well, which side do you think cannot afford legal counsel?
That's what I was afraid of.
You have a problem with that, Mr. Ford? Good. Then I suggest you get started on your research. And you'll be wanting to arrange a meeting with your client. And don't forget, for these people, you're not a law student. You're the only hope they've got.
Golden, I don't do well with people looking over my shoulder.
Who's looking? That's not how you spell precipice.
Do you want me to write this, or do you want to write it? Golden, I can feel you watching me. I swear, I'm not gonna... You're not Golden.
No kidding. Hi.
What are you doing here?
Came to take a rest. I'm exhausted. I've been helping out at the daycare center.
Ah, why?
Do you think that you take care of me?
What are you talking about?
I met this fascinating woman in my contracts class today. She's brilliant. She's beautiful. You should see her give Kingsfield a run for his money. And she is raising this little girl all by herself. Anyway, she said that all women secretly want to be taken care of.
What do you think men want?
What?
Same thing.
Do they?
Of course they do. Nobody wants to grow up.
Yeah, but don't you think it's more difficult for a woman?
It's very hard to be a woman. It's very hard to be a man. It's almost impossible to be a human being.
Can I get you folks a croissant, a cappuccino, the evening paper, anything else to go with your conversation? This is not a coffee shop, Hart. When am I going to get the article? The whole review is waiting for you.
Coming. It's
Done.
I'll see you later.
All right, bye-bye.
In New York, Alabama, Oregon, and Tennessee, the debt can be considered discharged on a lesser payment if it is in writing and signed by the creditor.
Quite right, Miss Norman. Thank you. Forbearance. Forbearance as consideration. You're agreeing to forego something, in effect, can be consideration for a contract.
What is it? What's happened? Those officials came by again, this time with a piece of paper ordering us to close down.
Why?
They said we don't have a proper license to run a daycare facility.
Oh. Well, what are we supposed to do in the meantime? How long is it going to take to get the proper papers?
Oh, I wouldn't hold your breath. They said it could take months.
Amy cried. I didn't cry.
You're a good girl. Can't the university do anything about this?
Oh, what are they going to do? They've been ignoring this problem for years.
Damn it. I'm right in the middle of a class.
I know. I'm sorry. We're just trying to get everybody back where they belong. I still have to find the mothers of these two.
I know. Don't you worry, Judy. Look, we're going to fight this, okay?
Okay. I'll call you if anything changes.
Right.
What are we going to do now, Mommy? Want to go to the park?
Oh, my little monkey. Dean Perry, I'm Kathy Norman. I'm a first-year law student here. I've been trying to get an appointment with you, but your secretary says that it'll be 3 weeks before you can see anybody. I know you're very busy, but I really have kind of an important, urgent matter I'd like to talk to you about.
And what's the problem?
My daughter was attending the daycare center here until it was closed yesterday by the health department, and I was just wondering if there isn't anything the university couldn't do to help.
Well, if that center is off campus, I'm afraid it's beyond our jurisdiction.
Well, I was hoping that the university could bring it on the campus. It really wouldn't be that much trouble to set it up.
You must realize we don't make decisions like that overnight.
I understand that, but this has been a problem now for some time, and many universities do provide daycare facilities for their students as well as their employees.
This is a matter for the trustees to decide. I'll try to bring it up at the next meeting.
But this is a pressing matter.
I'm afraid everything nowadays is a pressing matter. You'll have to excuse me. I'm late for an appointment.
So you do have an opening? She's 5. What's the cost? Per day? It's really an awful lot of money just for daycare. Have you got anything like a sliding scale for parents who can't afford to... I see. Well, how far are you from the university? That's really too far. I just don't think I'll be able to make that. I'm sorry. And, you don't have a waiting list? Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Great. Oh, great. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow morning then. Thank you very, very much.
Is Charlie Stern going to be there?
No, Charlie Stern is not going to be there.
Good.
You don't gotta love your client, Ford. You just gotta defend her.
What she's asking for doesn't make any sense. Look, her landlord made some improvements in her apartment, so he raised her rent. Well, he has a right to make a return on his investment.
Ford, she is an old woman on Social Security. How's she going to take care of herself?
You and Professor Banks. He thinks that the main purpose of the law is to protect the underprivileged, the old children refugees.
It's not a bad way to look at the law.
Kathy! Hi. Honey, how are you? What happened last night? I turned around and you were gone.
Oh, it's a long, sad story with a lousy ending.
Come here, I want you to meet some friends of mine. Art, this is the woman I was telling you about. Kathy, these are the corrupting influences of my life. This is Ford and Belle and Hart.
Hi, pleased to meet you.
Good to meet you. Won't you have a seat?
I'd love to, but I gotta go to work.
Here?
That's right.
Oh, in that case, I'll have another beer.
Why don't you just wait till I get my apron on, okay?
When did you start working here?
Last night. Did you hear they closed the daycare center?
Who?
The health department. So, that means more babysitters, and more babysitters mean more money.
That's outrageous. Why doesn't the university provide daycare?
That's a good question. I tried to corner Dean Perry about it. I think that mothers with children rank just below stray dogs on the university's list of priorities. In the meantime, I gotta take some orders.
When do you want to study, Captain?
Study? Who's got time to study?
What's the matter?
Do you know that she has got to work here to make money to pay the babysitters because they closed the daycare center and the university won't do a thing about it?
Well, as my beloved Professor Banks would say, when in doubt, make a class action lawsuit out of it.
What do you mean?
Against the university. On the grounds of discrimination against students with children.
Do you think that would work?
It might, after 2 years for the discovery phase, and then a year for the motions, and then the trial. By the time we win, her daughter should be learning to drive.
No, Miss Norman, that is not correct. Perhaps if I ask you a more general and simpler question. How did this court deal with the issue of consideration?
I'm not sure.
How would a modern court define consideration?
A mutual exchange of legally sufficient mutual promises.
And what is the definition of legally sufficient? Or is that something you just invented to disguise your ignorance of the law? How does modern law differ from the 16th century law with respect to consideration in bilateral contracts, Miss Lehman?
Today, mutual promises will serve as sufficient consideration in most contracts.
Quite right. Thank you, Miss Lehman. Good day.
He really gave it to you. How you holding up?
Oh, well, look, I'm getting my cocktail orders and my torts a little mixed up, but basically I'm just hunky-dory.
Listen, I've been talking to my friends, and they seem to feel that there might be a lawsuit that we can file against the university based on the grounds of discrimination against students with children. Now, it might take some time, but I think that...
Wait a minute. It's a great idea, but, you know, look, as far as I'm concerned, for the next couple of months, the only thing I'm interested in is getting my work done, paying my bills, and getting to see my child now and then if I'm lucky. You know what I mean?
Well, what am I supposed to do? Make an argument against the free enterprise system?
I'm sure there's a case to be made for your client, Franklin Ford III. Franklin Ford III.
How can I argue her cause when I don't believe in what she's asking for?
You just do it. That's part of being a lawyer. Franklin Ford III. Ford. It's all for today. Sorry.
There's more mail than I get in a year. You got a pen pal or something?
No, they're just dividends I'm collecting.
Collecting on what?
Oh, some property my father bought. He made me a partner in it for tax purposes.
Now we begin to see why your sympathies lie so heavily with the landlord in this case.
Hart, that is a cheap shot. I enjoy being rich, but that doesn't mean I don't want to be a good lawyer.
So be a good lawyer and get that landlord off that poor old lady's back.
Hi,
Hi.
Oh, here's the other bleeding heart.
What?
Don't pay any attention to him. I'm living with a slumlord.
You should see what happened in contracts today between Kathy and Kingsfield. He is just waiting for her to make a mistake.
The guy's like a shark. When he smells blood, it's all over.
There's got to be something we can do to help her.
Careful, Connie. You've got enough to worry about just getting yourself through law school.
She needs help. Nobody's doing anything about it.
And don't look at me. I give at the dorm.
Oh, come on, you guys. Just one night. Help her out. Help her to catch her breath, catch up on her studying.
Well, one night wouldn't be too bad.
What do you want us to do?
Somebody can make dinner. Somebody can take care of the kid.
I'll make dinner.
You are going to love that little girl. She is so sweet.
No way, baby. If you need anything, just let me know, okay?
Sure.
You having a good time?
Sure.
Yeah, you're a good kid.
So much for helping the needy. Can I eat her portion before it goes bad?
Something must have happened. She said she'd be here at 7 o'clock.
What happened is she probably forgot about it.
You can't say that until... What'd I tell you? Hi.
Hi. Oh, Connie, I am so sorry. I was studying at the library, and I guess I just must have fallen asleep. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, no. Look, you've already made dinner for me, too. Oh, I blew it.
It doesn't matter as long as you're okay. We can do it another time.
Well... Oh, no. I've got to get back to the dorms and pick up Stephanie. She's probably worried sick that I'm not...
No, she is probably having a terrific time with Belle.
Can I have something to drink?
Stephanie! Stephanie! Kaiser, you see a little girl go by about this high, blonde hair, about 5 years old?
Isn't that a little young for you, Bill?
Stephanie! Stephanie!
Hi, Mr. Bell.
Who told you could go wandering around this place?
I was thirsty.
When I put you someplace, you stay there, understand? Take it easy. It's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't want you to get lost. There's a lot of weird people in this dorm. It's okay. I'm sorry. Hey, you want to see Uncle Willis look like a fish? Do you? Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. How about a giraffe?
I thought they were going to send me a real lawyer.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mrs. Wexler, but the clinic is staffed by second and third year students.
But you know what you're doing, right?
I think I can handle this matter.
Good, because you know what he's trying to do to me, don't you? This guy is trying to push me out.
Yes, well, I doubt if it's as bad as all that.
How do you know? Have you been here before? Have you seen this building?
No, I haven't.
So better come upstairs and see for yourself.
In a moment. Now, you do understand that first we are going to be appearing before an official of the Rent Control Board, and he will then decide whether or not this case deserves a full hearing. You know what a hearing is, don't you?
Listen, young man, I may be getting old and I may be poor, but I'm not stupid, so don't talk to me like I'm a child. Certainly I know what a hearing is.
Good, good. Well, then, I need a little information.
You know, for you, this is just a job. But for me, it's my life, it's my home. Do you have any idea what it's like when somebody's trying to push you out of your home?
No, but...
And I hope you never find out. But I'll tell you the truth. It scares me.
Miss Norman. Miss Norman, Judge Richmond suggested that business contracts be interpreted without regard to all evidence of any kind regarding the parties' intentions. Why?
I'm not sure.
Miss Norman, Judge Richmond is suggesting that contracts made in the course of business are of a different variety than contracts between individuals. Can you think of a justification for this?
No. I'm sorry, sir.
I am very sorry, too.
Mommy, where does this go? Mommy? Mommy?
Yeah, dear.
You said you were going to play with me when you got home.
Get out of here! Just get out of my way! Leave me alone!
Oh, my God.
Connie!
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, I don't know. Everything's kind of a blur to me these days.
I can imagine. Hey, you getting enough time for studying?
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm holding up as best I can under the circumstances. Listen, I really hate to ask you this, but do you think you could possibly take Stephanie for me tonight? I just really need some more time so I can catch up on my reading for Kingsfield.
I really don't think I can.
Okay. Look, it's no problem. I just thought if you had the time...
I've fallen so far behind in torts class, and I haven't even finished.
It's okay, really. It's no problem. She's not your child.
Maybe some other time, huh?
Yeah, maybe another time.
Miss Norman, perhaps you have prepared yourself sufficiently to answer questions on the subject of consideration.
It, usually has no role.
And what exactly do you mean by has no role?
Well, I mean that the contracting party, the party who gives the service, usually receives no...
That burbling may make sense to you, Miss Norman. To me, it sounds like sheer gibberish. And I'm sure it does to everyone else in this room. Now, would you please tell us specifically and precisely what role consideration plays in unilateral contracts?
Could you restate the question?
You may sit down, Miss Norman.
But I haven't
Would you kindly sit down? Now, may I remind you all that when we next meet, it will be for the purpose of testing your knowledge of contract law. I trust you have all prepared yourselves thoroughly. Good day.
Kathy, I've been talking to Hart about the class action suit. He thinks that we should go to Kingsfield.
Kingsfield? It's good.
He's the only one that can help us.
Connie, I can't face him. I failed him. I failed myself, too.
Kathy. Kathy. You just don't understand. She is the most brilliant person in our class. And it is not fair that her career is going to be damaged or maybe even destroyed because nobody at that university cares enough to set up a daycare program for people who really need it.
I think that what you're doing for Kathy is great. I just think it gets to a point, though, where everyone has to take care of themselves.
Yes, but she has got a lot that needs to be taken care of.
I know that. I'm not arguing with you. All I'm saying is that there's a limit to how far you can or should go out of your way to help someone else. I mean, don't forget, you're in law school, too, and you're carrying a first-year workload. Since I happen to have an investment in your welfare, Don't worry, I'm not taking care of you. Just think you have to be careful and not overextend yourself. I mean, it's wonderful to help people. But sometimes you're not really helping, if you know what I mean.
What makes you think you know so much?
I'm a compulsive helper. Every time a needy person goes by, I have to hold myself down.
Oh, really? Well, what about a person who needs to have her back rubbed?
Oh. Well, every once in a great while, I make an exception to the rule. But just for you.
Oh, don't do me any favors.
Back here.
Oh, Hart. We really should do something. And I mean, not only for her, but for all the women in the school who are going through this. Hart?
Yeah, I hear you.
You may present your side of the case now, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I realize this is just an informal hearing, but I wonder if it would be allowed for me to ask my client a few questions.
I have no objections.
Mrs. Wexler, how long have you been living at the building which we've been discussing?
Next June, it'll be 23 years I'm living there.
Now, in the past 12 months, have there been any significant improvements made in your apartment?
A man came and he put a bar in my bathroom. It helps me get out of the tub. And he screwed in some fancy light bulb.
Now, approximately how long was this repairman in your apartment?
A little less than an hour. I timed him.
Any other improvements, Mrs. Wexler?
No, but I could name a few I could use.
Thank you. Now, Your Honor, I have been looking into this matter, and I have calculated the cost of these improvements based on several different estimates. Now, according to my calculations, the landlord is entitled to an increase in rent of $5.20 over a 2-year period, rather than the $70 which he is demanding.
I wanted to talk about my leaky faucet.
Not now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ford. I'll study these carefully and make my recommendation to the Rent Control Board. I suggest, Mr. Braddock, that your client better have a good explanation, or he's going to be in more trouble than not getting his rent increase.
When you become a real lawyer, you're going to be very good.
And on what grounds do you intend to base this lawsuit?
By refusing to establish a daycare center, the university is failing to provide the service it was intended to provide.
And what, may I ask, Mr. Hart, is your participation in this class action suit? You certainly don't qualify as a plaintiff.
I want to assist in the litigation, sir. I believe in its importance and its relevance. Universities all over the country are setting up daycare centers.
I repeat the question. On what specific legal grounds?
Well, the university has a responsibility to assist in the student's education, and in this instance, it is actually impeding it.
You still fail to see the point. This lawsuit you are proposing is rooted in emotionalism. Furthermore, it is unprepared and impertinent. You are training to be lawyers. I expect you to think like lawyers. First, you must identify a right which has been violated or a duty which has been breached. Next, you must identify the discrimination which you claim is taking place.
Would this arise under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act?
Indeed, it would. You would have an even better case under the more recent Title IX. I suggest you look at the case of De La Cruz versus Tomei, 1978, Ninth Circuit decision. It might apply very nicely to this case. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to speak to Miss Norman alone. Miss Norman, you might very well be instrumental in achieving far-reaching changes at this university in regard to student rights. But in the meantime, this does not help your personal situation at all. I don't have to tell you that your own work in my class has grievously deteriorated.
But Professor Kingsfield, now that you understand my
Miss
circumstances...
Norman, you and I have been through this once before. Your commitment to the law seems to ebb and flow with the fluctuations of your personal life. You betrayed yourself once before. I question whether you are yet emotionally ready to be a lawyer. Academically, you're also in question. You are aware, I'm sure, that if you fail in the forthcoming examination, I shall have no choice but to revoke your scholarship, and in that case, you'd have to leave this law school. I would be very sorry to see you go.
You'd be very sorry. You don't really mean that. You talk about the high principles of the law, and yet you can't even understand a simple human problem. There never will be any compassion or sympathy in you.
Quite right, Miss Norman. I have no use for sympathy. In everyone's life, there are personal problems which at certain moments appear to be insuperable. At such moments, you can count on no one but yourself. And it is at such moments that you discover your own courage and strength and learn to rely on your own resource and determination. For you, this is such a moment.
I have a child, and I have all the responsibilities that go with having a child. Now, if I belong here, then my child belongs here, too. Who is it? Hi, Connie.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. Good. Come on in. Hi, Steph.
Hi.
What happened after we left Kingsfield yesterday?
He said some things that I just didn't want to face.
Well, we should study, huh?
I'm not going to take the test, Connie.
What are you talking about?
I'm a mess. I just can't do this anymore. I'm a lousy law student. I was a lousy wife. And now I'm a lousy mother, too. I'm sorry, Connie.
Look, we made a decision to study together. We both need to pass this test. Okay, I'll ask the first question. What is the issue in the Burgundy versus West Virginia case? I love you so much, baby.
Burgundy versus West Virginia? What kind of a question is that?
It's a good question. And he's probably going to ask it.
Okay, let me ask you one.
No. You answer mine first.
Okay. Burgundy versus West Virginia. Burgundy was an employee of the state of West Virginia in 1972 doing various contracting jobs in and around the state capitol when... Hello? Hi, Mrs. Kyle. Fine. What? When? Oh, are you all right? Oh, no, you can't take Stephanie? Oh, I've got a test this morning. Okay, wait a second. Okay, go ahead. 434-8669. Okay. Okay, thank you. Let me know what the doctor says, okay? All right, bye-bye. Hello. Hi, my name is Kathy Norman. Mrs. Kyle gave me your phone number. I was wondering if you'd be able to babysit this morning. I see. Oh, no, sure, it's okay. Thank you very much. Have you seen Bill?
He has a morning class.
Come on, honey.
Mr. Sims?
Yes, sir.
Kindly distribute these.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen and ladies, you are all aware of the rules of this test. I expect full, clear answers, answers that will separate those that grasp the full significance of the law from those who will find it desirable to enter some other profession as their life's work. You may use your case books if you wish, but I warn you that it will not do you much good. The information I am seeking lies in the gray matter between your ears. The main purpose of this test is therefore to discover whether you are capable of relating the cases you've encountered here and of understanding and expressing the spirit that underlies and connects these various manifestations of the law. In other words, what I expect from you are the principles rather than the details of contract law. You may begin.
As you know, our hands are being tied because of the budget cuts.
I know that, Alex.
We've been trying to provide all the essential services and spend money in ways that will benefit the largest number of students and faculty. The feeling in the administration is that only a small number of students would actually utilize a daycare center.
You can be assured that that number will increase as more and more parents enroll in this school. Besides costing us some of our best students, this could result in a lawsuit, a class action, which, in my opinion, has a substantial chance of success.
All right. I'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Your next meeting, that's 5 months from now. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Alex. I don't think your board of trustees would enjoy a class action or the ugly publicity it might create for this university.
I'll certainly get around to it as soon as I can.
Not soon, Alex. Tomorrow.